Your friend,
said Eeyore,
appears to have bitten on a bee.
Pooh's friend stopped shaking his head to get the prickles out and explained that tigers didn't like thistles.
Then why then a perfectly good one?
Asked Eeyore.
But you said, began
Pooh.
You said that tigers like everything except honey and acorns. And thistles,
said Tigger, who was now running around in circles with his tongue hanging out. Pooh looked at him sadly.
What are we going to do?
He asked Piglet. Piglet knew the answer to that, and he said at once that they must go and see Christopher Robin.
You'll find him with Kanga,
said Eeyore. He came close to Pooh and he said in a loud whisper,
Could you ask your friend to do his exercises somewhere else? I shall be having lunch directly and don't want it bounced on just before I begin. A trifling matter, and fussy of me, but we all have our little ways.
Pooh nodded solemnly and called to Tigger.
Come along and we'll go and see Kanga. She's sure to have lots of breakfast for you.
Tigger finished his last circle and came up to Pooh and Piglet.
Hot,
he exclaimed with a large and friendly smile.
Come on.
And he rushed off. Pooh and Piglet walked slowly after him. And as they walked, Piglet said nothing because he couldn't think of anything. Pooh said nothing because he was thinking of a poem. And when he had thought of it, he began,
What shall we do about poor little Tigger? If he never eats nothing, he'll never get bigger. He doesn't like honey, acorns, and thistles because of the taste and because of the bristles. And all the good things which an animal likes have the wrong sort to swallow or too many spikes. He's quite big enough anyhow,
said Piglet.
He isn't really very big. Well, he seems so.
Pooh was thoughtful when he heard this, and then he murmured to himself,
But whatever his weight in pounds, shillings, and ounces, he always seems bigger because of his bounces. And that's the whole poem,
he said.
Do you like it, Piglet? All except the shillings,
said Piglet.
I don't think they ought to be there. They wanted to come in after the pounds,
explained Pooh.
So I let them. It is the best way to write poetry, letting things come. Oh, I didn't know,
said Piglet. Tigger had been bouncing in front of them all this time, turning around every now and then to ask,
Is this the way?
And now at last they came inside of Kanga's house, and there was Christopher Robin. Tigger rushed up to him.
Oh, there you are, Tigger,
said Christopher Robin.
I knew you'd be somewhere. I've been finding things in the forest,
said Tigger importantly.
I found a Pooh and a Piglet and an Eeyore, but I can't find any breakfast.
Pooh and Piglet came up and hugged Christopher Robin and explained what had been happening.
Don't you know what Tigger's like?
asked Pooh.
I expect if I thought very hard I should,
said Christopher Robin.
But I thought Tigger knew. I do,
said Tigger.
Everything there is in the world except honey and acorns. And what are those hot things called? Thistles. Yes, and those. Oh, well then, Kanga can give you some breakfast.
So they went into Kanga's house, and when Ruth had said,
Hello, Pooh.
And
hello, Piglet.
Once, and
hello, Tigger.
Twice, because he'd never said it before and it sounded funny, they told Kanga what they wanted, and Kanga said very kindly,
Well, look in my cupboard, Tigger, and see what you'd like.
Because she knew at once that, however big Tigger seemed to be, he wanted as much kindness as Ruth.
Shall I look too?
said Pooh, who was beginning to feel a little 11 o'clockish. And he found a small tin of condensed milk, and something seemed to tell him that Tiggers didn't like this, so he took it into a corner by himself and went with it to see that nobody interrupted it. But the more Tigger put his nose into this and his paw into that, the more things he found which Tiggers didn't like. And when he had found everything in the cupboard and couldn't eat any of it, he said to Kanga,
"What happens now?"
but Kanga and Christopher Robin and Tigger were all standing around Roo, watching him have his extract of malt. And Roo was saying,
"Must I?"
and Kanga was saying,
"Now, Roo, dear, you remember what you promised. What is it?"
whispered Tigger to Piglet.
"His strengthening medicine, sir.
Said Tigger.
He hates it."
So Tigger came closer and he leant over the back of Roo's chair and suddenly put out his tongue and took one large wallop. And with a sudden jump of surprise, Kanga said,
"Oh!"
and then clutched at the spoon again just as it was disappearing and pulled it safely back out of Tigger's mouth. But the extract of malt had gone.
"Tigger, dear,"
said Kanga.
"he's taken my medicine, he's taken my medicine, he's taken my medicine,"
sang Roo happily, thinking it was a tremendous joke. Then Tigger looked up at the ceiling and closed his eyes, and his tongue went round and round his chops in case he left any outside, and a peaceful smile came over his face as he said,
"So that's what Tigger's like."
which explains why he always lived at Kanga's house afterwards and had extract of malt for breakfast, dinner, and tea. And sometimes when Kanga thought he wanted strengthening, he had a spoonful or two of Roo's breakfast after meals as medicine.
"But I think,"
said Piglet to Pooh.
"that he's been strengthened quite enough."
Dick Jerrell reading Winnie the Pooh. Ensued by the Shalimar sign, they dove all at once with an ear-splitting splosh, then rose to the surface again, a regular army of hippopotami, all singing this haunting refrain. This is your chance now. Mud, mud, glorious mud, nothing quite like it for cooling the blood. So follow me, follow, down to the hollow, and there let us wallow in glorious mud. That's why I sang that for that one. Okay, the poetry's over for the night, and what follows is going to be karaoke. Now, karaoke is karaoke is something they have in Japan where people go into clubs and they sing along with recordings. Now here we have lip syncing, and lip syncing has become an art, but there they actually perform with the recordings. And I perform with records all the time, and I was thinking when I noticed that they had a TBA here on Sunday nights, that maybe I should try to fill that slot. And Steve Oakley, who originally invited me here to do the poetry, when I was recording Joe Morris to do Jazz Gig here. And we've got more people coming to poetry than they have any night of the week for any other event here. As I said last night, I was the only member of the audience, and I only came because I wanted to do karaoke. So the idea is you set up a boom box and sing along with a pre-recorded tape, or I might bring my compact disc player next week. And I wouldn't limit us to singing. I think you could bring an instrument and jam along. So I play harmonica and electric bass, and I thrash on guitar, and I started doing percussion and things like that. So don't hang around, if you've got to get your tea and everything. It's just going to be, well, I'm not going to do the whole